Merak and Dubay were bickering about which way to steer their little boat. Polaris sighed and started counting the stars, pointing at each one. When he got to 22, he stopped. There were just too many. Instead, he squeezed his eyes shut and thought of the biggest number he could think of in the whole wide world. 349! He shouted out loud. His voice echoed in the cold emptiness all around them. Merak and Dubay stopped arguing and stared at their baby brother. "What?" shrugged Polaris. "I'm counting stars." "Counting stars?" laughed Merak. "Why are you so obsessed with silly stars?" "It's not like they can stop us from being lost," sniggered Dubay. "Actually, did you know that—" "We're not lost," Merak interrupted. "And anyway, Granny lives on the big northern iceberg, and north is, He put one paw in the air, closed one eye, and held out his tongue. This way." Merak pointed dramatically into the darkness and furiously started to row in the direction they had just come from. "That's not north," said Polaris. But he was the smallest of the three polar bears. They would never listen to him. Round and round and round and round they went, circling the icebergs in their little boat, until the three polar bears felt quite dizzy. Okay, I'll admit it. We're lost," shouted Merak, letting go of the oars. "Lost?" asked Dubay. "Lost," said Merak. "We're not lost," said Polaris, shaking his little head. Even though he stood with his hands on his hips, with his chest puffed out, he still looked very small. His brother and sister stared at him. "All you have to do is follow Polaris," he said. "Follow you?" laughed Merak. No, not this Polaris," he said, pointing to himself. "That Polaris." His big brother and sister watched their baby brother pointing his paw straight up into the sky. "What are you talking about?" asked Dubay. "The star!" exclaimed Polaris. "Polaris is the name of a star, and if we follow it, we'll get to Granny's iceberg." "Just because Granny calls you a little star doesn't mean you actually are a star," said Dubay, patting a huge paw on his head. "If you listen to the stories Granny tells us about the stars, then you wouldn't be lost," said Polaris with his hands on his hips. Dubay and Merak stared at each other with open mouths. Polaris went on. "I'm named after a star. Polaris is a star. We are all named after stars. Dubay and Merak are the names of stars too, look." Polaris pointed to the sky. His brother and sister stared, confused. "What are we supposed to be looking at?" asked Dubay. "All I can see is lots of twinkly dots," said Merak. "Yes, but if you look really, really carefully, you will see they make shapes in the sky. Look, there's the shape of a great big bear." Polaris beamed. His brother and sister stared really hard. "I can't see anything." "Use your paw," insisted Polaris. "Pretend your paw is a pencil and you're drawing in the sky. Look, that star there is the start of the bear's tail, and that's where his leg begins. It's like a great big dot to dot," said Polaris, pleased with himself.